at this point. But yeah, I enjoy it. It's cool.
No doubt.
Um, yeah, so we live right now.
Live once again with the Black Quarantine.
Yes, sir. Here to talk about the chapters 3 or sections 3 through 4 of Discourse on Colonialism. Um, so was there anything that kind of stood out to you about these chapters?
Um, yeah, I mean, there was a few things. Um, Obviously, we're going to talk about the author real quick. He really goes in on these people. Like, there's Monsieur Kalou, Monsieur
I mean, by
Kalois,
these people.
Monsieur Moreau. Like, he goes on. He finds all these bourgeoisie people, per se, and he goes ham on them, you know.
Yeah.
And but the thing that Amis Desire is saying is it's like very things that are quite evident in people today. Like when we talk about white supremacy, bourgeoisie, the bougie people, we you see these characteristics repeated like from person to person. He even said something interesting. He's like, this evil that we refer to Hitler with existed even before Hitler, right? So that goes to show you that like this guy, I mean, it's like even on the last I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but even in the last couple pages, um section 4 especially was just dedicated to Monsieur Calois. I think I'm saying that wrong. You know what? I actually want to put it into a Google search, see if I'm saying it right. Because it's a French name, but I don't think I'm saying it right.
I'm about to say, don't you know some French?
I do, but it's at this point I'm illiterate.
Oh, what's the name again? Or where is it at? What page?
Okay, so you'll see that I mean on page 68, that's when he first references him. It's Monsieur Roger Calois. I think that's what he's saying, but if it's not, then
Uh, yeah, I'm about to say Caillou.
yeah.
I have
Let's
no
see.
idea.
How do you pronounce man?
But
Yeah, but I just think it's interesting how he keeps going in on these people that are so-called, pioneers pretty much to um, um, colonialism.
yeah, I found like in section I think 3, like on the first page, like page 47, he was talking about like the Christian virtues, which like it's been used to kind of disguise what's going like it's kind of been used as like a shield to like justify colonialism, right? Like
Mhm.
um they use they use like a certain moral reasoning, like we've come here to like uh bring blessing to these savages, like stuff like that. They use like fancy words and
Right,
phrases
right,
to kind of like disguise like the brutality and like justify what's going on. And then I think like throughout that chapter, he's also mentioning like some philosophers and like I guess like European thinkers of the time who basically like flat out say like they're they're looking to make like a superior race through colonialism. Basically, like this is like they're the chosen race. Like this is something that they must do. Like let me see. Actually, there was a on page 50 um one that it was a French Ernest. I can't Sicardi. I don't know how you say it, but he said something like, "When a superior race ceases to believe itself a chosen race, it actually ceases to be a chosen race."
yeah. I
Yeah, like
highlight, I highlighted that point too.
yeah, like it's kind of like a self fulfilling prophecy. Like they because they believe it, they're gonna go ahead and act on it and um, basically impose their will onto another group of people because that's their divine right, I guess.
Which makes me want to ask you this question. Since the white man does believe he's the superior race, and based on this quote, he will become the superior race because he believes it. Has the black race lost its has lost its superior stance because it has stopped believing in its superiority?
Well, it's just a weird question to me altogether because why do we have to like why does one have to be superior?
It
You
shouldn't
know,
be, but I have heard even at the tongue of black people say that we are the chosen people. We are the chosen few, right?
hmm
So that's why I bring that up. Is like, did we stop believing in that? Because this quote says, like you said, when a superior race ceases to believe itself a chosen race, it actually ceases to be a chosen race. When we believe that, I think when we believe that was in the peak of the Civil Rights Act, the peak of the Civil Rights Movement.
So you're saying like we there was a time in which like we as like black people believe we were the superior race.
A chosen race. I don't like the superior race
But that's the thing, and from what they're saying here, there's no distinction basically.
of being superior or chosen.
It says when the superior race ceases to believe it. Well, yeah, like basically, like if you're the chosen race, you're the superior race. Basically, that's how I'm interpreting it from what he's saying.
Well,
From what these European colonizers are thinking.
yeah, I don't want to think like a colonizer.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is that I don't know if that's the blueprint we want to take.
Right. So that's it's even wrong to even think in that to even think in those same kind of to think in that same breath that one race will be superior to another
Right,
because it's like
like
repeating something they did.
right, exactly. Like, and like that's kind of like the distinction. Like, I think that's why like a lot of people don't a lot of like especially white people they don't like hearing stuff like oh Black Power and Black Lives Matter and uh whatever, like anything like this pro black because they they know their history. They know like oh like they wanna they wanna eventually become like the superior race and then they're gonna end up doing all the stuff that we ended up doing to them and other races, whatever. And
Right.
I think it's like it's important to know like I mean, first of all that stuff isn't about like black supremacy or black superiority. It's just, you know, um, it's just like a confidence and an empowerment of our community and our people, and especially like in the environment that we're in. Um, so
So
yeah, like go
not to
ahead.
cut you off, but in the same lines of what you were saying, there's the Bantu civilization, and the book says this quotes from it said these Bantu are pure spirits, I tell you, and this is a quote. What they
What page
desire
is
first
it?
of all, this was page 58. My bad.
Okay.
It says, what they desire, first of all and above all, is not the improvement of their economic or material situation, but the white man's recognition and respect for their dignity as men, their full human value. And I think that kind of falls in line with what you're saying is, I mean, we're not looking to be materialistically higher than anyone else, because that's really what it means to be bougie or to be superior, right? Because
hmm
people base being superior based on vanity, things that don't really mean much, right? That's what the capitalist society runs on, things that are vain.
Right.
But it speaks here of the Bantu civilization as all they really want was their full human value, and I think that's what we speak in terms of when we talk about Black Lives Matter and all those things. We're just saying, yo, we're human. We have value as human beings. We have human rights. Acknowledge us as such. Like, don't just neglect the fact that we're human just like you. Don't treat us as if we're beneath you, but treat us. I mean, I hate to use the word equal sometimes because it just seems, I don't know, it's a little bit ambiguous. But in terms of humanity, bro, we're human, right?
Yeah, and
We
yeah, and even like I don't know, even like that kind of bothers me. Like that whole quote where he says like what they desire first of all and above all is not the improvement of their economic or material situation, but the white man's recognition of and respect for their dignity as men, their full human value. And it's like I don't know, like on one hand, like it's good that they're not focused on material, they're focused like on, I guess their value, their innate value, but you know, it's kind of like the same thing today. Like they shouldn't be looking for the white man's validation for that, right?
right. Yeah, that's a major key. That's a major key. Why does your human value come at the hand of the colonizer? Why does it?
Yeah. And
Why
that's
does it validation come from? Yeah, big
and it's
facts.
because you've been colonized to want that blessing from them.
Well, I think
I
it's the kind of going back to what you just said though. They come in the form colonizers always come in the form of religion. So the colonizer came in with this, hey, I'm Jesus. Come with me and you shall live. So
yeah.
really, when you look at the white man, that you've heard of that white man, that savior complex,
Mm-hmm.
when he presents himself as such, we need that validation from our savior, from our, you know, and in essence, when we hear the word Jesus, what do you think of? What's the picture you see?
A white man, and it's crazy. That's crazy too, because like they they'll really come into like wherever you are, and then like try and bring you into your religion, and then just post up these pictures of their God who looks exactly like them. So then basically you're seeing these white people as like almost at the same divine level as you're seeing what you see as Jesus,
Yeah,
and you're already putting them on that pedestal. You're already seeing them through these rose colored glasses, and it starts at every level. Like it's so subtle.
right. And I think that's it right there, the subtlety of it all, right? And I think what the author definitely does is un, uncovers the veil and goes, hey, this is not as subtle as you guys think it is, especially from the European standpoint. Um, because there's so many different examples. Like when we think of being colonized, I don't think we have thought of so deep as the Arabs, the Africans, the Asian. We didn't think about all these other nations. We usually think from only from the Western society. But the
Mm-hmm.
subtlety of colonialism has really impacted the whole world, you know? I mean, and I think Christianity is one of the biggest ones because Christianity is probably the most popular and well-known religion throughout the world. And you can attribute that to what? Colonialism. And the subtlety of it is like, yo, this is Jesus. It's a picture of us white people. We're gonna come into your nation, which already has its set rules and guidelines, but because we want to implement our what we call our capitalistic mindset, we're going to contradict everything that we represent by doing the exact same thing that we are claiming to be. Like we claim to be Christ, but we come in with debauchery. Like I don't remember what page it was. Oh yeah, page 56. If you read the the second paragraph, it gives all of the characteristics of these, colonists, and then it also, I mean, look at all the words that they use to describe these people, and it's a
Right.
psychological issue, and
Yeah. Yeah. They and it's funny because like I think like the page before um they start talking about he starts talking about like this Belgian missionary and like, or no, page 55, and
55,
they,
okay.
yeah, they talk about like the communistic materialism of black people, because I guess at that, I guess whichever um nation that they came upon, they were acting, they had like a communistic I guess way of living. So that the communistic materialism made them moral vagabonds.
Hmm.
They saw it as like, why would you operate your society in this way? That's so primitive. You guys are sharing everything. Everybody has what they need. Oh, let's bring capitalism into it. Let's bring feudalism or whatever into it.
How contradicting are those two words? First of all, the word moral, morality, to be upright, to be just, and vagabond. That just goes to show the psychological, like they're twisted. It's like, whoa, whoa, hold up. You guys are sharing things. And I think that's why we all have this negative outlook on communism and socialism because we literally have a capitalistic mind. It's like, yo, every dog for himself out here. And whoever can't get it is going to live
Yeah,
in a
that's
tent,
yeah,
tent
that's
down.
just like such a Western thing, and like, but like, I don't know, like, it's so, what's the word? It's so like villainized, communism and socialism and that sort of thing. But people, like, there were definitely people living like that before they've been colonized and it worked for them. Um, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's just interesting, like
Well, I think
how.
there's no perfect structure, but I'm a quote here from the book. It says on page 57, it says, it is only the iron law of colonist capitalism, therefore of a society that is not only perishable, but already in the progress of perishing. So that means that a capitalistic society is slowly deteriorating, it's slowly perishing away. Do you agree with that?
So, wait, where is it again?
That is on page 57 towards the bottom of the page. So it's talking about Messier Guru.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
then it talks about um, the dilemma
So,
that exists with
yeah, okay. If the limit exists,
the existing regime of capitalism is a slow deterioration of that quote unquote civilization. Do you
that's.
do you think that's what's happening now? Like, I mean, look at our capitalistic society. Is it working out?
I mean, you got to define working out, right? You gotta. That's like a subjective standard. Because like, I know there are studies showing that like capitalism has like lifted the most people out of poverty like worldwide, but it's weird because capitalism definitely helps the rich a lot more than helps those who are poor.
Right,
So like you definitely, and the thing with capitalism is that it also inherently comes with a hierarchy attached to it.
right.
You're gonna always get those who have the money, and then those who don't have the money, and then those who don't have the money are usually exploited to work for those who have the money. Like like we people working for Jeff Bezos, working for Bill Gates, working for
But
uh,
but look,
jobs.
but look what you're saying about capitalism. But also, and I'm just going to be the devil's advocate here. Capitalism brings forth opportunity. Because let's think about Amazon, right? Huge. You got a big guy at the top, Jeff Bezos. But look at all the job opportunities that Amazon has created. You know, I mean, Amazon itself has skewed the unemployment rate. I feel like they got a good majority of, like, I'm not saying non-skilled workers, but people that would probably have difficulty finding work in in a age where industrialism is not as common. Even though the Republican Party is trying to really push the industrial movement, but that doesn't really exist on a world that's pretty much online. But Amazon brings opportunity. So is capitalism really that evil?
See, and I'm not like a like a socialist or a communist supporter. Like I'm not even sure how I feel on that whole thing. I gotta do more research, but I feel like yeah, what Amazon's doing would be fine if they were able to provide living wages and basically all the necessary needs that their bottom level workers need to survive. Like, because I used to work for Amazon, and like what I was getting paid wasn't enough. I had to work two jobs while I was working for Amazon. I was doing like warehouse stuff. Um, so like I th- like does Jeff Bezos really need all that money? They say he's on track to become the world's first trillionaire. Like all that money that he has. You feel me? Like all the money that he has could be going. Like he could be paying his workers 100 times more than they're being paid. He could be distributing some of that wealth to solve many of the world's problems. And obviously, like I'm sure, like a lot of that wealth is uh, like in assets, like in the business. It's not like it's his net worth. It's not like liquid, but I don't know. Like I don't know how all that would work, but my problem would be that he doesn't need all that money, and that a lot more money could be distributed to the workers so that they would be able to support themselves and have living wages.
Yeah, I think that's not the priority of capitalism. The priority of capitalism has never been the well-being of those that build the structure that it is that it exists on, because capitalism exists on the back of the workers. Jeff
Mhm.
Bezos, what he did, he just got he came up with a very, very clever idea selling books online, but then it turned into something that I don't even think he knew was going to
Yeah,
become. He never knew Amazon. Bro, I remember Amazon back
I
when I
wish
had dial.
I wish I bought stock.
Bro, come on, bro. You be sitting on a jet right now, flying to shoot. You probably be, in space. People be straight up. But
Facts.
um, Amazon. I remember Amazon on dial-up. You know, I remember dial-up internet, bro. We're so far from that.
Hmm.
And I remember Amazon being just a place you buy books.
Right.
Books are probably not even the best seller on Amazon anymore, bro.
He adapted so well. He
Come
adapted
on.
so well.
So with that, I mean, not a knock on Jeff Bezos at all, but we're using the construct of Amazon as an example of the capitalistic society. Is we're not here to make money and then improve society. The fact that we exist makes society better. That's the ideal of a capitalist. He's like, yo, what y'all doing over here? Y'all worship. This is y'all God. This is y'all deity. That's y'all spirit. All
That's
right,
what
hold
they claim makes it better. It's it's still under uh deliberation whether it's actually making things better, because we still a lot of people homeless. Like I think this pandemic has exposed like a lot of flaws in capitalism. Like um we could really be using the government's assistance. A lot of people could really be using the government's assistance right now. So many people are getting kicked out of their homes,
come
are
on.
unemployed, can't work, and we still opening up businesses and stuff. And capitalism thrives on that sort of thing. So of course, like capitalist is going to want to open the businesses, but that's probably not the best idea right now. So you know, a lot more government assistance will probably be useful in this kind of situation. I think this pandemic is exposing that flaw in capitalism.
If you were a business owner, the pandemic was not a great time for you, but then a lot of people they benefited from the opportunity. Even having an LLC, even if you weren't even that active on it, you were able to collect funds from the SBA and all these other like so many people came up on that. Like not 20, 10K to 20K. I mean, even surpassing that. But the government was reluctant to releasing more stimulus packages to people that were really in need, people that lost jobs, people that were furloughed. And it makes you realize that what is the priority here? You know, when universal health care is not something that is being strongly considered, when you're seeing that homeless, I mean, here in Charlotte, they have a place called Tent City, bro. Tent City, not too far from Uptown. And I mean, if anybody's ever been to LA or anywhere along the West Coast, you'll see homeless people congregate in an area just full of tents. And then you start to look at it and go, huh, that is, that just doesn't, like, in a society where capitalism, where the mighty dollar, right, as we call it, is supposed to make things better, has in a way made things a lot worse. And
Right.
I think that's why the author, there's a running theme in this book. The author says um, the iron law of colonists, capitalism is a it's the process of a perishing nation. And you see it, man. When you uncover the wounds, you see it. Like when you look at things a little deeper and you look at the scope of it, it's like, okay, businesses are benefiting right now, but people are sleeping in the streets during the wintertime.
Yeah, and it's like when you have a hierarchy like that, the people on the bottom who, like, if you're not going to do what's necessary to make sure the people, the poorest people are taken care of and are able to have their needs, and not only that, like make sure like life's a bit easier for them, eventually you're going to get like some kind of unrest, some kind of civil unrest, and it's going to grow. I think the pandemic has definitely accelerated that for us. Um, and who knows how it's going to be in the future, because it's hard to see things getting back to that what's the word, homeostasis that we kind of had. It seems things are getting a lot more out of balance.
Oh, definitely. I think things are definitely becoming out of balance, and people have to be more. So I think the age of uh, sitting on the fence, being on the fence, that's over. You have to pick a side now. Who do you stand for? What do you stand for? And if you don't stand for anything, you won't survive in these times because people are not going to be that open to you. I just think the balance of mankind, and like people can sit there and hide behind a mask and pretend like things are okay, but they're not because everything has been unveiled. We see the injustices, we see the marginalism, like we see it now. And
Mhm.
like I think we see the nation perishing right before our eyes. Like even in this election, like you can flip a coin on who's gonna win, but it's like what does it really solve?
Right,
You
right,
know,
and
and
I mean, yeah, it will. I mean, some things will be solved, like, and like I'm not gonna cap. Like, I'm sure a Biden administration would probably be able to handle this pandemic better than like a Trump administration, maybe.
but is
Uh,
that past tense at this point?
is that what?
Is it past tense at this point?
What do you mean? Is it past tense?
Like to say that a Biden administration can handle the pandemic better, I think we can't. It's too
Oh,
late for that.
you're saying it's too late?
Yeah, because I don't think you can't really handle the coronavirus no more. I don't think you can because it's out there. Like, bro, it's out here, bro. Like,
Yeah. I never really considered that. What would he do? What would Biden do anyway? Like, just put the country on lockdown again? I don't know.
man, what's his options? I mean, the only thing that could have been done to prevent that is being proactive at the time. You know, like, yo, if they heard it back in October, like last year, 2019, they're like, oh, shoot, we hear about this pandemic breaking out. Oh, word? All right, let's keep a close eye on that. Let's make sure we keep that under wraps. You know what I mean? So
All right.
by the time January come around, the only bad news that we're gonna hear in the whole world is, you know, like remember like there was a lot of bad things happening at the time. You know, Kobe had passed. There was talking
Right.
about the World War III.
I remember
Then
that.
Then boom, pandemic. You like what? Hold
Yeah.
up,
2020 has been a ride, man. A wild
bro.
ride.
Man, I feel like and I'm like the holiday season. I don't even know what to think of it, bro. I'm
Yeah,
like, man, I might
bro.
be wrong
I,
food and
I
just
can't even. I'm like having trouble processing that we're about to have an election, and I don't know what's going to happen after that because,
true
uh,
colors, man. True colors. That's all.
yeah, but yeah, we are kind of getting off topic. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
2020 will do that to you.
right. Um, but was there anything else that you wanted to add about these chapters?
Yeah, there was something that was actually it happened very early on. I mean, there was a lot of interesting stuff I think in section 3 and 4, but it talked about the tropical environment countries and how their servitude was pretty much inevitable. Like their society could not run without colonists, without somebody coming in there. I'm like, what? This is somebody's process and way of thinking.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, all the islands, none of them stand dependent. Like none of the natives of those islands live there.
Hmm.
Think about it. Trinidad mixed with the English. A lot of them look Indian. Jamaicans, English. Haitians, French. Dominicans, the
Dominican.
Spaniards. Where else are we talking? Cuba, Spaniards. Um, where else is that? You got Dominique, French. Saint Martin, French. No, not Guyana. That's down in South America. The Cayman Islands, English. Um, these are tropical environments and the indigenous societies. And then, quick sidebar: they changed Columbus Day to Indigenous Day. They need to just take that shit off the calendar. Like, what the
Well,
hell's going on?
I still want the holiday
I mean,
so I can get off
bro,
of work.
it's crazy. I logged into work and nobody was on. I was like, yo, what's going on? I forgot Monday was a holiday. And I'm like,
Right.
man, anybody's celebrating this?
But yeah, you won't ever catch me saying Happy Christopher Columbus Day. Only
Bro,
Christopher we acknowledge is Wallace.
this is what this book is talking about. Christopher Columbus ass niggas.
Yeah. Yo.
That's what this book is talking about.
Christopher Columbus like the Michael Jordan of them.
What? I'm telling you.
He's the
Telling
worst
you.
one.
Come under the name of a hierarchy, like you mentioned, with a doctrine, come into an indigenous land, not knowing anyone, demanding that you're not living right. How could you be living like this? Let me show you. Like even in this quote, um, the tropical environment in the indigenous societies, he writes, drawing up the balance sheet on colonization, have suffered from the introduction of techniques that are ill adapted to them, from corvées, porter service, forced labor, slavery, from the transplanting of workers from one region to another, sudden changes in the biological environment, and special new conditions that are less favorable. So like this is an inevitable outcome and destination of someone that lives in a tropical environment or indigenous. And in my head, I'm like, that makes a lot like that's what we have seen throughout time. People being think about it, the slave trade, right? The
Hmm.
cotton, the triangular slave trade from the United States to Africa back to the Caribbean.
Right.
What was that mean? That was just people being transported for the sake of what? What was
Labor.
pretty much the economical South in the United States, which the Confederates would still fight and say that was the economy of the country and that was the driving force. But at the cost of what? At the cost of slavery. People being taken out of their own homes, people taken out of their own environment to come to a different place and be labored. I don't know. That one struck me because I come from a tropical nation
Right.
and that's literally our history because Haitians, we weren't the original inhabitants of that island of Hispaniola. We were not. The Taínos Indians were.
Right. Oh, wait, I didn't know that. Well, no, that makes sense. Yeah, duh, obviously.
So a lot of West African slaves were brought to Hispaniola Islands,
Yeah,
and the Taínos Indians were pretty much it's like mass genocide and just
because
snap literally Thanos slapped them off the earth.
yeah, but it's. I mean, when you bring in first, you bring in like these foreign European people who like knowing their dirty behinds probably has some type of disease they brought with them. Um,
Uh,
and then you bring black people cooped up on these boats and you stack them like sardines in which they gotta poop and shit and piss on themselves. And like they're cultivating whatever kind of disease that they got going on while in that kind of situation. And then you introduce them to these Indians. Like, I'm sure like disease was like one of the main contributors for why they were wiped out like that.
nah, for sure, because just like in the early American colonies, right? A lot of Indians got sick because of their interaction with the early colonies. You know, and anytime a colonizer comes into a new nation or into a new civilization, they come with disease. Period. That's one of the first ways they kill out the first wave of people. Then everything else is just barbaric. And I mean, when you like honestly, when you even describe that, I get like chills and I get angry. You know what I mean? Can you imagine, bro? Like your ancestors being shipped in to a nation. I mean, if they even survive from the dehydration, the lack of nutrients. Yeah, it's insane. I think you got frozen for a second. You there? Uh, well, we're still here. We just wait for Sandisa. It seems like he's been disconnected. But man, this is actually really interesting read. Um, well, it seems like our live stream has abruptly ended due to some technical difficulties.